Welcome in, everyone, to this deep dive into, well, the heart of Buddhist thought.
Yeah.
You know, it's so fascinating to me how often we're all looking outside of ourselves,
Yeah.
for happiness and security, like we're chasing after these things and experiences.
Mhm.
But what if the real source of refuge, what if it's like right here inside of us the whole time?
Mm.
That is exactly what we're going to be looking at today. We've got excerpts from Thich Nhat Hanh's Living Buddha, Living Christ, ready to go.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to unpack these insights with you.
Thich Nhat Hanh, he kind of points us towards this inner sanctuary,
Mhm.
and he uses the three jewels to do it: Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
Right. Those are like the cornerstones of Buddhist practice.
Yes.
But, for someone who's maybe new to this, it might sound a little abstract.
Sure.
If you break it down for us, like what do those actually mean and how do they act as a refuge?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that's important to note, unlike some faiths that really are rooted in blind belief, Buddhist faith is really rooted in experience and insight.
Oh, I like that.
So taking refuge in the Buddha, think of it as trusting your own potential for awakening and transformation.
Okay, so it's believing in your own capacity to grow and change for the better.
Exactly. And taking refuge in the Dharma is like embracing the path, the
Hmm.
teachings
Hmm.
that lead to the end of suffering. So it's about actively engaging in practices that cultivate wisdom and compassion.
So it's not just about believing, but also about actively doing something.
Yeah. And the third jewel, the Sangha, that one highlights the importance of community.
Hmm.
We don't have to walk this path alone. Connecting with other people who share our aspirations can offer so much support and guidance. It's
Right.
like having a group of fellow travelers who understand the terrain and can help you navigate the challenges.
Yeah, one of our sources, Claire Villarreal, she
Hmm.
put it really beautifully. She said, we need sana in the way that we need Buddha and Dharma. Really underscores that sense of interconnectedness.
Hmm.
Do you find that community aspect important in your own practice?
Absolutely. There's a collective energy and wisdom that comes up when people practice together, and it can make a huge difference, especially when we're going through, you know, difficult times.
Yeah, it's like having the safety net, like knowing that you're not alone on this journey.
Hmm.
But this idea of finding refuge within Thich Nhat Hanh actually takes it a step further, right?
It does.
He even suggests that the Buddha takes refuge in me.
Yeah, he's talking about a shifting perspective. Like, it's not just seeking refuge in external concepts, but realizing those three jewels are qualities that we can cultivate within ourselves.
Okay.
So our own mindfulness becomes the Buddha, our conscious breathing is the Dharma, and then the harmonious working of our mind and body that represents the Sangha.
It's like we already have everything we need. We just got to learn how to access it.
Exactly. And the practices he offers, things like mindful breathing, walking meditation, or bringing awareness to simple daily tasks, like even washing dishes.
Hmm.
All these tools to help us cultivate that inner refuge.
But what about, when things get tough? Because we all experience difficult emotions like anger or frustration.
Sure.
How can this idea of inner refuge help us when we're navigating those challenging moments?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
It's about learning to pause, to breathe, and connect with that sense of stillness and stability within us. And it's not about suppressing or denying those emotions,
Right.
but creating space where we can observe them without being overwhelmed.
So creating a sense of inner resilience, kind of like a safe haven that we can return to
Yes,
no matter what's going on around us.
exactly. And Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that this inner refuge is always available to us. It's
Hmm.
like this wellspring of peace and strength that we can tap into at any moment.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about the three jewels and this really beautiful concept of finding refuge within ourselves. But where does love fit into all of this? It might seem like a strange jump.
Not at all. Love is at the heart of the Buddhist path.
Okay.
And Thich Nhat Hanh, he articulates this through the Four Immeasurable Minds: love, compassion, joy, and equanimity.
And these are like the four pillars of true love.
They are, but remember, Thich Nhat Hanh doesn't present love as this fluffy, sentimental notion.
Right.
It's a powerful practice, an active engagement with the world that's rooted in deep understanding.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
First up, love.
Okay.
What does love even mean in this context?
So think of it as maitri, or metta, the intention and capacity to bring joy to yourself and others. But it's a joy that arises from understanding, from recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings.
So it's not just a fleeting feeling,
No,
but a genuine desire to see ourselves and others flourish.
exactly. And this love is intricately linked with compassion.
Okay.
The second immeasurable mind, this is karuna, the ability to recognize and alleviate suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about holding space for pain and offering kindness without judgment.
That makes sense. Like, we can't truly love without being willing to see and acknowledge the suffering
Right.
in ourselves and in the world.
Exactly. And that doesn't mean that we have to suffer ourselves to alleviate another's pain.
Yeah.
It's about offering compassionate presence
Right.
without being overwhelmed. And then this naturally leads to the third immeasurable mind joy or mudita.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about being happy when good things happen,
Yeah.
but about cultivating a deep appreciation for the present moment, for the simple joys of life.
I'm curious, what does that actually look like in practice?
So Thich Nhat Hanh encourages us to notice the small things, a beautiful sunset, the taste of a ripe fruit, the warmth of the sun on our skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's about cultivating the sense of gratitude for the abundance that already exists in our lives.
Such a good reminder to slow down and just appreciate the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what about the fourth? Immeasurable mind equanimity. The one I feel like I struggle with the most.
Yeah.
It almost sounds cold, like you're not supposed to feel anything.
I understand that it's often misunderstood.
Yeah.
Think of equanimity or upeksha as non-attachment and even-mindedness. It's not about being indifferent, but about recognizing the impermanent nature of all things.
So learning to let go of our clinging and grasping.
Yes. Thich Nhat Hanh uses this powerful analogy.
Yeah.
He says, imagine a summer breeze trapped into tin can.
Mm.
It eventually dies because it's lost its freedom.
Wow.
Equanimity is about allowing space for things to be as they are without trying to control or possess them.
I'm starting to see how these four immeasurable minds are all interconnected. You can't have true love without compassion, joy, and equanimity. They all work together to create a more balanced and harmonious way of being in the world.
They do, and cultivating these qualities within ourselves allows us to offer that same love and compassion to others.
This has been so insightful.
Good.
So we've explored the three jewels as a source of refuge, both within ourselves and in the teachings and community. And we delved into these four immeasurable minds, those essential qualities that form the foundation of true love.
Yes.
But how do we even begin to understand ourselves deeply enough to embody these qualities? Where do we even start?
That's where the Buddhist teaching of the Five Aggregates comes in.
Okay.
It's a powerful framework for understanding the nature of the self.
This sounds like a good place to take a pause.
Yeah.
We'll come back and explore those five aggregates right after this.
Welcome back. So those five aggregates, they might sound a little technical, but they're really about understanding the different aspects of our experience. Think of it as a map of the self.
A map of the self.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what are these five elements that make up who we are?
Yeah. The first is form, or rupa, our physical body. And it's about recognizing, that we are embodied beings and that our bodies are worthy of care and attention.
That makes sense. We often take our bodies for granted until something goes wrong.
Right. Thich Nhat Hanh encourages us to practice mindfulness of the body, to notice our sensations, our movements, and to treat ourselves with kindness and respect. It's about cultivating this sense of gratitude for this incredible vessel that carries us through life.
It's about realizing that our bodies are not separate from our minds.
Yeah.
They're an integral part of our experience.
Exactly. Next comes feelings, Vedana, and this is about acknowledging the constant flow of emotions that we experience, both the pleasant and the unpleasant.
And we tend to chase after those good feelings and try to avoid the bad ones, don't we?
We do, but Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that all feelings are impermanent, like waves in the ocean constantly rising and falling. We can learn to ride those waves without being swept away by them.
So learning to observe our feelings without judgment and recognizing that they're just a natural part of being human.
Yes, and this leads us to perception, Samjan, the way we see and interpret the world around us, and this is where things can get tricky. Our perceptions are often colored by our past experiences. Our beliefs are conditioning. We tend to see things through this lens of our own making, which can lead to misunderstandings and suffering.
So we might not be seeing things as they truly are.
Exactly. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that our perceptions are not always accurate. He even quotes the Diamond Sutra, where there is perception, there is deception.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's a call to question our assumptions and be open to seeing things from different perspectives.
Exactly. The fourth aggregate is mental formations and samskara, and this includes all the thoughts, emotions, and habits that arise in our minds.
So it's like the constant chatter in our heads.
Yeah, and Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes that these mental formations are also impermanent, conditioned by our experiences and the world around us. They don't define who we truly are.
So it's like recognizing that we aren't our thoughts. We have thoughts, but we are not those thoughts.
Exactly. Finally, we arrive at the fifth aggregate consciousness that Vijnana often referred to as store consciousness.
That sounds intriguing. What exactly is store consciousness?
So think of it as this vast reservoir of our mind where all our experiences, memories, and potential reside. It's like fertile ground where seeds of both suffering and happiness are present.
So it's kind of like our subconscious mind.
In a way, yes. And Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that we have a choice in which seeds we water our thoughts, actions, and intentions can either nourish the seeds of negativity or cultivate the seeds of love,
Yeah.
compassion, and understanding.
It brings us back to those four immeasurable minds we were talking about earlier. It's all connected.
It is. These five aggregates aren't just abstract concepts. They're a framework for understanding ourselves more deeply, for recognizing the interconnected nature of our experience.
Mm-hmm.
And this understanding can be incredibly liberating.
How so?
When we realize that our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions are impermanent and conditioned, we can start to let go of our clinging to them.
Okay.
We can begin to see ourselves and the world with greater clarity and compassion.
It's recognizing that we're not these fixed, unchanging entities, but rather we're dynamic beings in a constant state of flux.
Exactly. And this understanding paves the way for true transformation, but it's not enough to simply understand these concepts intellectually.
Right.
We need to embody them to put them into practice in our daily lives.
And that's where the five powers come into play, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They offer a path for actualizing this understanding.
Yeah, the five powers, faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and insight, they're like tools for cultivating inner strengths and wisdom. They empower us to live in alignment with the teachings we've been exploring.
Okay, so let's unpack those, starting with faith.
Okay.
I know this word can have a lot of different connotations depending on, people's backgrounds.
Sure.
So what does faith mean in a Buddhist context?
Yeah.
It's not about blind belief, is it?
Not at all. Buddhist faith is about confidence and trust that arises from direct experience. It's like the faith a farmer has in the process of planting seeds, nurturing them, and watching them grow. It's not a leap of faith, but a trust that's cultivated through observation and practice.
So it's about trusting the teachings in the path, knowing that they can lead to greater peace and understanding.
Exactly. And this faith, it deepens as we engage in the practices and experience the fruits of those practices. It's a virtuous cycle. Now, faith is closely linked to the second power energy virya, often translated as diligence or enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
It's the energy that sustains us on the path, the joy that we find in the practice.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to, become workaholics,
Right.
but about cultivating a genuine enthusiasm for the journey.
Precisely. It's about finding joy in the process of growth and transformation. And this brings us to the third power, mindfulness, Freedy. The ability to be fully present in this moment, aware of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment.
Mindfulness is a big buzzword these days. What makes it so important in Buddhist practice?
Yeah. Thich Nhat Hanh describes mindfulness as the plow, the hoe, and the irrigation source that waters insight. It's the foundation for all the other powers.
So it's about cultivating awareness as a way of seeing things more clearly.
Exactly. And this clarity allows us to move to the fourth power, concentration samadhi, the ability to focus our attention and cultivate a calm and steady mind.
And isn't that what meditation is all about?
It's a key aspect of meditation, yes, but concentration goes beyond just sitting on a cushion. It's about bringing that quality of focus and presence to everything we do, whether we're walking, eating, or having a conversation.
So it's about training our minds to be more present and less distracted.
Exactly. And as we cultivate mindfulness and concentration, the fifth power, insight, praja, naturally arises.
This is like the culmination of all those practices. What exactly is Buddhist insight?
So it's a deep understanding of reality, a seeing through the illusions of self and separateness. It's the recognition that all things are impermanent, interconnected, and ultimately empty of inherent self.
That sounds profound, but also a little bit difficult to grasp.
It is, but as we deepen our practice, this insight will emerge naturally. It's not something we can force or intellectualize. It's a direct experience, a deep knowing that arises from within.
So these five powers, faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and insight, they work together to help us move from understanding to embodiment.
They do, and Thich Nhat Hanh even suggests adding a sixth power, letting go.
Okay.
It's about releasing our attachments, our clinging to views, opinions, desires, even our suffering.
So surrendering to the flow of life with greater ease and acceptance.
Exactly, and he reminds us that these powers are not something we acquire from the outside. They're seeds that already exist within us, waiting to be cultivated.
It's like we have this incredible potential for awakening and transformation that we just need to learn how to tap into.
Yes, and he emphasizes that it's not about becoming perfect or getting rid of all of our negative qualities. It's about skillfully choosing which seeds we water.
This reminds me of that image of store consciousness being like fertile ground.
Our practice is about consciously choosing to nourish the seeds of love, compassion, understanding, and wisdom, while allowing the seeds of anger, fear, and despair to remain dormant.
So not about denying or suppressing those negative emotions,
Hmm.
but choosing to focus our attention on the qualities that lead to greater peace and happiness.
Exactly. And as we cultivate those qualities within ourselves, we naturally radiate them outwards, impacting the world around us.
I love that idea that inner transformation can lead to outer transformation. But how do we actually bring all of this into our daily lives?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of the world and forget about these practices.
Right. Thich Nhat Hanh offers a wealth of practical advice. He encourages us to create mindful habits, to bring awareness to every aspect of our experience.
Like what, for example?
Simple things like paying attention to our breath, pausing for a moment before we react to a difficult situation, noticing the sensations of our body as we walk, stand, or sit.
It's about slowing down, being present, and savoring each moment.
It's about shifting from a mode of doing to a mode of being fully present in whatever we're doing, whether it's washing the dishes, driving a car, or having a conversation.
I love that finding those moments of stillness and presence amidst the busyness of life. He also talks about specific practices like walking meditation and mindful eating. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, walking meditation is a beautiful practice. It brings awareness to the simple act of walking. It's about feeling the ground beneath your feet, noticing the movement of your body, being present with each step.
So it's not about getting somewhere. It's about being fully present with the journey itself.
Exactly. And mindful eating is about bringing that same awareness to the experience of eating, noticing the colors, textures, and smells of your food, chewing slowly and savoring each bite.
It's about appreciating the nourishment that food provides and cultivating gratitude for the abundance in our lives.
Yes, and these practices can be incredibly transformative. They help us to cultivate greater presence, awareness, and gratitude in our daily lives, and he even offers practices for transforming those mundane tasks we often do on autopilot.
Like what?
Remember when we talked about answering the phone mindfully?
Yeah.
He also suggests practicing telephone meditation.
That sounds intriguing. What is telephone meditation?
It's simple, really. The next time your phone rings, instead of rushing to answer it, pause for a moment, take a breath, smile, gather yourself before engaging with the other person.
It's about bringing mindfulness to even those seemingly insignificant moments in our day.
Exactly. And he even suggests practices like hugging meditation, where you bring full presence and awareness to the act of hugging.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. I love that practice. It's about transforming even the simplest acts of affection into opportunities for connection and mindfulness.
Absolutely. But Thich Nhat Hanh also emphasizes that we don't have to do any of this alone.
Right.
He reminds us of the importance of community, of practicing with others.
Because it's easy to lose motivation or get discouraged when you're doing it all by yourself.
Yes, he even uses a vivid analogy. He says, when a tiger leaves his mountain and goes to the lowlands, he will be caught by humans and killed. When our practitioner leaves her Sangha, she may abandon her practice and die as a practitioner.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It really highlights the essential role of the Sangha in supporting our practice.
It does. Surrounding ourselves with people who share our aspirations creates a supportive environment for growth and transformation.
It's like we're all in this together, helping each other along the path.
It is, and it all starts with each of us with taking refuge in our own hearts, cultivating those seeds of love and wisdom within.
Wow, so much wisdom packed into these teachings.
Yeah.
We've talked about finding refuge within, cultivating true love, understanding ourselves through the five aggregates, harnessing the five powers for transformation. But how do we make all of this practical?
Right.
How do we actually integrate these insights into our busy lives?
That's where the real work begins, right? Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes that understanding is just the first step.
Yeah.
True transformation comes from embodiment, from putting these teachings into practice in our daily lives.
So it's not enough to just read about it or listen to podcasts.
Right. It's about making these teachings a living reality.
Okay.
And he offers so many practical tools and techniques for doing just that.
Can you give us some examples? Like, what are some simple things that we can do to bring these teachings into our daily routine?
He encourages us to cultivate mindful habits.
Okay.
Things like bringing awareness to our breath throughout the day, pausing for a moment before we react to a difficult situation, noticing the sensations of our body as we walk or stand or sit.
It's about slowing down, being present, savoring each moment.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a mode of doing to a mode of being fully present in whatever we're doing, whether it's washing the dishes or driving a car or having a conversation.
I love that finding those moments of stillness and presence amidst the busyness of life.
Mm,
He also talks about specific practices like walking meditation and mindful eating.
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, walking meditation is a beautiful practice that brings awareness to the simple act of walking.
Mhm.
It's about feeling the ground beneath your feet, noticing the movement of your body, and being present with each step.
So it's not about getting somewhere. It's about being fully present with the journey itself.
Exactly. And mindful eating is about bringing that same awareness to the experience of eating, and noticing the colors, textures, and smells of your food, chewing slowly and savoring each bite,
Mhm.
appreciating the nourishment that food provides, and cultivating gratitude for the abundance in our lives.
It really is. And those practices can be so transformative.
Mm.
They help us to cultivate greater presence, awareness, and gratitude in our daily lives. And he even offers practices for transforming those mundane tasks we often do on autopilot.
He does. Like, remember when we talked about answering the phone mindfully?
Yes.
He also suggests practicing telephone meditation.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yes.
What is telephone meditation?
It's simple, really. The next time your phone rings, instead of rushing to answer it, pause for a moment, take a breath, smile, gather yourself before engaging with the other person.
It's about bringing mindfulness to even those seemingly insignificant moments in our day.
Exactly. And he even suggests practices like hugging meditation, where you bring full presence and awareness to the act of hugging.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that earlier. I love that practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's about transforming even the simplest acts of affection into opportunities for connection and mindfulness.
Absolutely. But Thich Nhat Hanh also emphasizes that we don't have to do any of this alone.
Right.
He reminds us of the importance of community, of practicing with others.
He talks about the Sangha, the community of practitioners, as an essential support on the path.
He does. He even uses a powerful analogy to illustrate this point.
Okay.
He says, when a tiger leaves his mountain and goes to the lowlands,
Mm-hmm.
he will be caught by humans and killed. When a practitioner leaves her Sangha, she may abandon her practice and die as a practitioner.
That's such a vivid image.
Yeah.
Really highlights how important it is to surround ourselves with people who share our aspirations and support our growth.
It is, being part of a community can provide encouragement, inspiration, and accountability. It can help us to stay committed to the path, even when things get challenging.
It's like having a group of fellow travelers who understand the terrain and can offer guidance and support along the way.
Exactly. And remember, these teachings are not just for Buddhists.
Yeah.
They offer profound wisdom and practical tools for anyone seeking to cultivate greater peace, happiness, and fulfillment in their lives.
Absolutely. So what is one key message that you would want our listener to take away from all of this?
I think Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings really remind us that true happiness and peace are not found in external circumstances, but within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's about cultivating our inner resources, our capacity for mindfulness, compassion, and understanding. It's about awakening to the truth of our own being, to the interconnectedness of all things.
It's about realizing that we already have everything we need to live a life of greater peace, joy, and freedom.
Beautifully said. It's a journey of self-discovery, of awakening to the incredible potential that resides within us all. And as Thich Nhat Hanh suggests, don't look outside yourself for happiness. Let go of the idea that you don't have it. It is available within you.
That's such a powerful message to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of Buddhist thought. We hope you found it inspiring and helpful in your own journey towards greater peace and happiness.